Hello, Doc Progeny here. Today I'm looking at how you display information on the pedigree. I've had a question from a user, and what they have is something like the pedigree I'm showing here. So if you look, you've got some icons for different cancers, as you can see. You've got the first name, last name, and you've also then got the mutations that have been screened for in this particular patient. Now, as you can imagine, for Maria here, for example, she's had 5 screens, pulled up 5 variants, of which only one is pathogenic. So if I pull up her data sheet, we can have a look quickly at how this looks. So you can see she's got a breast diagnosis, and she's had a number of mutations screened for, only one of which is pathogenic. Now, the user was saying that viewing this on a pedigree looks a bit messy, which it does. You can see you've got 5 lines beneath the individual. Is a way of just saying, well, look, there's a pathogenic BRCA1 mutation. Well, okay, the answer is yes, and it requires a combination of table summary fields and computations. So I'm going to show you an example of how to do that. First of all, let's close this pedigree. We'll save the changes. We'll go down to the Fields tab. We're going to work in the same folder as a mutation table. So the first thing we're going to do is that table summary field. So we're going to select table summary. We're going to base it on the mutation table in this case, like so. And we're going to call it count pathogenic BRCA1 mutations. Now, as you can imagine, you may need to create multiples of this. So for every time you want to look at a different set of mutations, you're going to need a different set of summaries. So think about how you're going to do that. It's very important. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is count. And we're then going to say, well, we want it to be BRCA1. We also need to check that it's pathogenic, because we're not showing individuals who've had loads of genotyping for BRCA1, for example, but no pathogenic mutations have been found. So we're also going to drop that in here. So the first thing we're going to say, well, what is the gene? We're going to say we want it to be, in this case, BRCA1. We also want it to be pathogenic, so just a Y there. Okay, we're going to add that as a field. So now we've got a field that's going to be counting up pathogenic mutations. So let's have a little look at that first. Let's go back to that pedigree. And actually, let's just do this. Let's run a spreadsheet for that folder only. So we're just going to have a look at the individual name. And we're going to have a look for that field that I've just created, just to show how this is kind of working. So simple, just going to run that pedigree, run that for the pedigree. And as you can see here, we've got 2 individuals with a single BRCA1 mutation. So let's leave that in place. I just want to quickly show you hypothetically what would happen. So let's go back to Davina here. Look at her mutation table. You can see she's got 1 pathogenic mutation. So if we add in another row, so I'm going to randomly call it whatever I like, 2, 4, like that. So I'm just going to make that pathogenic. Now I'm going to save that data. But now this individual should have 2. So when we go back to this spreadsheet, click run again, you'll see she's now gone up to 2. So it's important to realize we're not just expecting 0 or 1. It can be 0 or multiples. So okay, let's go back a little step. So let's close this, close this, close this, and go back to fields, and we're going to create a new field. Now what we're going to do now is just create a field which is pathogenic BRCA1 mutation. I'm going to make this a computed field. I'm just going to use case when, because it's my preferred option. You can expand and change this quite rapidly, so I quite like that. So when this summary field is greater than 0, then BRCA1 pathogenic is what I'm going to create, like so, and then end, close bracket. Let's just click test just to make sure I haven't made any errors, which I have not. Okay, as simple as that. So we can quickly come out with a result for this. So now if we go back to the pedigree, let's open this pedigree again, you can see, okay, quite messy, lots of rows in there. Let's go up to the subtext option under icons. Let's delete off this table. And this time, instead of that table, we're now going to add in this mutation calculation here, like so. Click apply. And it's going to ask me to save this smart drawer. So now when we're looking at the pedigree, you can see we've got both of Maria and Davina, just simply with a single line saying that there is a pathogenic BRCA1 mutation in that individual. Not the 5 or 4 entries that we had previously, not for other genes that we're not interested in. And of course, you can create a multitude of these summary fields and computations. You can create quite extensive computations here as well, which gives you sort of control over what you're showing on the pedigree. Makes it a lot tidier, a lot nicer. Again, if you're sending this out to someone else to interpret, rather than having a huge long list of different mutations that you screen for, just having the sort of subtext that it's a BRCA1 pathogenic mutation present gives that user a lot of power. Okay, hopefully that was pretty understandable. If not, just send me a message. Otherwise, enjoy having a try. And if you've got any questions, drop me a line. Okay, bye for today.